G2 Esports versus Gen.G.
And here we go, Toronto. It doesn't get any better than this. This time it's not an upper bracket final. Elimination is on the line. Who is going to stand tall at the end of this one? It's G2 versus Gen.G. Mimi, it's going to be good.
The last Canadian player left in this tournament against a squad that has lifted trophies at a Masters before just a year ago. Both trying to stay alive in this lower bracket.
Yeah, and thinking of Gen.G and the run, it doesn't matter what has happened so far. It doesn't matter how good they've been. They could go home in just 2 days. And as we take a look at the OMEN map select, Lotus is going to be the first map that we see. G2 also picked it against HyperX. We all know how that ended up being. And it was, even though it was a very close affair, there were so many moments where individuals were needed to carry the game.
And a little fun fact about that, this is exactly how their series started in Shanghai.
Yeah.
It was Lotus, and it was G2's pick, and G2 lost that 13-8.
Gen.G has not played Lotus since Pacific Grand Finals. And they weren't a Teo team on that map, but I do wonder if they're thinking about switching onto the Neon here as well. They've been so committed to that agent across their map pool. I think it would be a really interesting idea, but they've also been very strong with that default Raze comp, the old Fnatic comp, just subbing in the Vise instead.
I mean, if you're in a situation here where, you know, a lot's on the line, obviously elimination is what's going to meet you on the other side of this, no matter how the chips fall, Kukuka. Do you go for the adjustment in your composition, or do you stick to the thing that you know can very well get you that win because it did it last time?
I think that for them, it might be a chance for comfort. I think that G2 wanted to go for a map that they probably have not played on stage, as Mimi was just saying, and maybe not be as warmed up as the rest of them. Because if you go for something that they've shown a lot and you think you have a read on, they probably also have put some work and some hours onto that. Changes, I would stick to what they know. Probably that is the card that G2 wanted to play. Are you expecting us to pick this Lotus?
G2 lost both pistols to HyperX. They got bonus by HyperX. So last time they played Lotus, it was still a 13-11 game. They made mistakes in that series. They're in the lower bracket for a reason, but I don't want to overreact to that map because I still think G2's macro, especially on the defensive side of this map, is world class.
Yeah, the retakes I guess you're mentioning. Again, number one thing to take account of is the man that you're seeing in the screen right now is Texture. How are they going to deal with it? Is Jogimo going to be up for the task? Are the rest of the team going to be able to shut that man down?
Oh man, you can feel the energy here at the Undercare Center as everyone's getting ready to go. And once this game starts, I know people are going to be on their feet, unsure of what's to come, because both Gen.G and G2 are squads that could very well have been in the grand finals here in Toronto, but they find themselves scrapping for top 4.
I think it's extra pressure for G2 after being so close to winning in Bangkok.
Yes.
To go back to the same kind of demons that haunted them last year. They lost to Gen.G in Shanghai. They went out immediately after that, and that was Gen.G who lifted the trophy.
All right, let's see what we get for our agent select here. See what we get locked in.
There's surprises on the side of Gen.G. They have already locked up all their agents. Again, this is what they were playing at Pacific from G2.
Whoa.
Okay, that is a locked...
Locking
the Tejo.
That is the lock Tejo. We have it confirmed. Did not expect that one from G2. Holy moly, Mimi.
So Teo still has some of the strong synergies with the Yoru, with the missiles. Drone it can still be a great tool on reclear on this map, but you don't have the refreshable util there, so we just got to see what Trent's up to.
Yeah, and also putting Jogimo back on that Yoru, he was not feeling it on the Neon.
All right, well, we've got 2 of the game's best ready to slug it out, so let's get ready and send it over to 2 of the best casters. Here's Brent and Sideshow.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, excited to get into this one here. Now, me and you, Josh, we're deeply intimate with these 2 teams. We've been watching G2 goes from height and strength to strength. Gen.G comes so close in the past and even lifting a trophy as well. I mean, you look different. Have you got a haircut?
No, I'm the same old Sideshow. These are 2 teams that we never would have expected to be in the lower round. This.
It's two sideshows.
I need to have a word with security. This guy doesn't even look anything like me. He doesn't look anything like me. How has he managed to sneak in there? No. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The world can only handle one. What an opening that we've potentially got here, though. Like you're talking about, so much history with these teams, but I wasn't expecting to see these compositions being pulled out here.
Yeah. It's an interesting one for sure. And as the desk has been already mentioning as well, this is elimination on the line. A scenario that both of these teams were probably not expecting in the slightest as well. We're talking about two juggernauts of prior years. If you look at them in a vacuum as well, for each of these teams, equally, they've had moments where they've been potentially the best in the team, or the best team in the world. We would say that for G2, for Gen.G, moments in this tournament where they've had those heights. So let's take a look at the pistol round. It's slow going for now. Gen.G set up, grouped up, ready to pounce, aren't they? Primed with that paranoia, but there's no contact, no signs of life from G2.
I'm so interested to see how Trent is utilizing his utility. Now that it's all changed up, Jorg takes contact, and he's out. Trent still with both salvos and a stun to work with.
Trying to take these fights as well, straight up here. Flashes into your face, Jonah P. is able to just at least hold that crossfire setup. No pressure coming out. Salvos lay it down onto the floor. Gen.G now looking to contact their way through this scenario. And the refight called for. G2, they want to try and take the fight straight to them anyway, before they can even escape.
A beautiful pistol round there from G2. Never allowing Gen.G to cut noise and force them to go for some kind of information, re-clear. They just force the fight instantly as soon as they hear that door open. I like that. Proactive, decisive.
One enemy remaining.
Last time we saw these two teams face, the only time, in fact, that we've seen these two organizations clash, it was a Masters Shanghai, a 2-0 victory for Gen.G, where G2 also picked Lotus, and Gen.G got out to a 7-0 lead. So immediately history not repeating itself.
This could be dangerous though for Jorgamo. He's out into the open here and he needs some help! Or does he?
Down A.
Target-rich environment,
enemy
and he flourishes with the rest of his team by his side.
That's very clean. Gen.G are a difficult team to put away even when you have that massive weaponry advantage. They've been winning a ton of those rounds on ecos after the pistol.
Yeah, one of the highest win rates teams at this event when it comes to pistol rounds. But not just that, like you mentioned, when they lose the pistol rounds, it's rare enough. They end up winning almost like 60% of them. Following up, so
and
G2...
They're not even forcing like G2
no,
are.
they aren't. They're just taking them straight up as ecos most of the time. It's a lower sample size, of course, but it is outrageous what Gen.G has been getting up to. G2 getting a win nice and early here onto Lotus. He's going to be setting them up cleanly, but okay, that's a nice little seize nade, and Jorgamo is no more obliterated.
Absolutely destroyed, and look how fast Karen is into a deep position here.
This is so pacey. Up through heaven, Leaf, just a head popping up, and they've spotted each other. Almost ships in an eye, but still, it's going to be a smoke into your face now, and the A side is opened up relatively. They still need to clear some section of it. Gen.G going to make a move on now, and plan's going to be committed.
Trent used one of his salvos out towards back rubble at the very start of the round, so he still has one to play with along with the stun.
Here's the paranoia. It's going to sweep through, dividing up most of the side here. Double drop down into pit. They're going to try and combine their might and their util, looking for the kills, but the crossfires immaculate from Gen.G. Coverage on every possible position.
Beautiful response from Gen.G, instantly getting the most out of their composition. That sees nade. Take a look at what it looked like from Jorgamo's point of view. He never got a chance to play the round. Through a flash, he's blinded up and gets hit by the seas of the nade just perfectly onto his position. The rest of Gen.G with better weaponry close things out. Ash is only 2 away from getting Nightfall online. There it is again.
Yeah. This time G2 learning their lesson. I mean, Jorgamo could take the contact if he wanted to. That is aggressive, Karen.
That's what Karen tried to do in the previous round. There was nobody in the smoke that time.
They're trying to take it very fast. Immediate adjustments being made by G2.
Yeah, it's a nice adjustment. I think the Pacific teams in general tend to be the best at these rubble fights, but G2 get the better end of it this time. And a drone immediately coming out from Trent. with 1:10 on the clock, just in case they've gone into a fast timing towards B. Texture being left over here towards Rubble, just looking to try to take a fight. As the rest of Gen.G move towards Mound, Valen defending C with a Paranoia in hand.
He's alone doing so.
He can get help from Leaf, though, on the other side of this door.
Prowler not connecting onto much. Lurk timing for Texture, seeking to take it, but 3 players, watchful eyes from G2, and Valen even getting one, and the exit. That is monumental. Gen.G going to be left scrambling here. Just Ash and Munchkin left alive, and risks to be taken. They want to stand the chance of winning this round. Munchkin going for a pick off out towards spawn, but it's all watched for. Safe hands from G2, that discipline. Always going to rear through. Flawless.
Necessary risk had to be taken there with such a player disadvantage. But by and large, these rounds, the last couple, have been decided based on the picks that were found at the very beginning, at the Rubble fight. I don't think Karen can go for this play again. It's a cheeky idea. You know, Bangkok, we saw Mako, I believe it was, doing some crazy teleports all over the map here on Lotus. Pacific teams are down to cook.
Yeah, they really are. And honestly, subverting my expectations for this game. When I think of these two teams, I think of methodical, disciplined, a bit slow at times, willing to work the map ever so slightly, but there is pace in this game. Gen.G have been throwing themselves at this A-Rubble fight over and over again.
I think it's really valuable to condition your opponents. If they can kind of force G2 to not fight over Rubble,
I'll find you.
Then suddenly you're gaining yourself a big advantage.
Top of the top. Not broken in time. Big reveal onto the two of them. Gives G2 a lot of information.
Foxy9's actually utilized his wall very early on to stop a potential B push. So that means it's not available for a post plan, where the Vice can be at its most deadly.
Doors opened up though. This is going to be putting Jorgamo under scrutiny. Can he deliver? Was it ever in doubt? It's 2 ripped array at a moment's notice. Sight's still going to be gained though. He's got no sound cues to work with. Still going to be TPing back and evacuating. Now the dimensional drifting, even catching that late lurk. Foxy9, there will be no backup policy. Gen.G are the ones who are left scrambling, picking up the pieces of the round and just dying. Straight away, it's all set up from Jorgamo, isn't it? Valen being the closer.
It looks immaculate out here for Gen.G.
This is a team that is determined to get redemption.
I'm sorry, the G's are confusing me. Immaculate for G2. These rounds, I mean, Jorg should have been under a decent amount of pressure, but he's 7-1, and he deals with that hit, killing people who are barely looking at him. I mean, when Texture goes into the site there, he's having to split his focus so much on Blue Room as well.
Dimensional drift getting value as well. Just stands exactly where the player planting is, so Valen knows exactly where to spam. Huge round from Jorgamo.
When I've watched Gen.G play in this map previously, and this, I believe, is the first time that we've seen them here at Toronto playing it, they've gotten a huge amount of value from either Rubble fighting or getting really good lurk timings into places. I think that's something that Karen's excellent at, but Munchkin in particular, with the Viper, can provide you huge value if you default the rounds towards Mount at the beginning, because then Munchkin's able to get in on A and work his magic. And he really is a superb lurk player. But Gen.G haven't really been going for that. They've been trying to insert players into deep positions on A early on, and G2, they are so happy to be re-clearing, fighting, taking timings to be active. And with this double initiator, and both of them with information tools, both of the initiators, you know, you've got the Prowlers, you've got the drone, you actually have more re-clearing tools than even with the breach in the composition, you could argue.
Sure.
So these players in advanced spots are getting rooted out, and then Gen.G forced into site execs where they don't look great so far.
Gen.G have got to turn this around. Timeout taken, most likely for the next round. Weaker weaponry, Munchkin, he's blinds it up, just looking for the horn position.
My ult is ready. Bring them down.
P not starting from B, so
No.
wasn't the same horn position at all, but didn't even use it.
One of the anti-strats that people have used in the past against G2 is trying to punish Leaf. You know that he's going to be jiggle peeking or jump spotting this deep C angle. And Texture, he's got a Guardian in this round, so I think that's the kind of fight he was looking for.
This push out though, I mean, listen, Jorgamo is taking liberties. The deep drone from Trent Pryor. Here comes the hit coming through. Not shying away from investing the ult, so the knife falls in. And here it is, bodies collapsing onto the floor. Gen.G, it's a bloodbath!
Last player standing. Flawless.
G2 just taking them over. And again, the weaponry wasn't ideal for Gen.G. Got to keep that in mind, of course.
But if the weaponry isn't ideal and Texture's the only one with a Guardian, why is Gen.G sending him into sight alone there?
Why are you trying to force the issue?
Yeah, why are we not looking for picks? Seeing if we can bait out individual fights and rely on Texture's aim. It's a strange way of playing the map so far from Gen.G. Feels a bit rushed, a bit forced.
And we might be seeing glimpses, I think, of what caused their downfall. We haven't really mentioned it too much, but against Wolves, Gen.G, they threw away 2 leads in the second half of the maps. It's what landed them here into this lower bracket.
But this is the round they took the timeout for, Brent.
And it needs to come up with the goods here and now, trying to face it, doubling up as that wall drops down. And there it is, Munchkin and Caron happy to collect.
This time, establishing slightly more passive positions, baiting G2 into fighting over towards Rubble, and then ripping them away when G2 overextends slightly. A 4v2, you've got to convert on this one. Has to be a second round for Gen.G. And you know that Valen and Leaf are going to be looking to try to take risks.
Yeah, business is booming. Their money almost capped out. If you look at the kills, a lot of noise made. Valen's already got the one. Anticipating that
Munchkin knows the plan.
You have to He's taken out. It's a 2v2 in the blink of an eye. Thorns deaded. Anything to slow down the approach, the onslaught. The G2 were delivering. Rapid run around. G2 looking to group up. Hit the switch. Moving around. There's a smoke into your face now, and you're going to have to call this timing well. It's disjointed from G2, and Caron's got his eye on it. Watch for one at that. Not to be outdone. Playing further back positions here. Gen.G do not want to throw this advantage whatsoever. We've been in and out trying to ping pong here, but the time is ticking, and now it's ran out. Valen, no more chances. You can at least bring Caron down to the grave with you.
That's actually really important too.
Yeah.
They've done insane economic damage there. Yes, it's a must-win round for Gen.G, and yes, they do get it over the line. But at what cost? The economical damage has been ridiculous there, inflicted by Valen and Leaf. What was that hop-up to delete Munchkin? He's waiting for the flank, but he's just not expecting that movement. And now, Gen.G is still behind by 3, and they're coming into this one with double Guardians, light armor. They're excited about it to get some on the board and starting to roll forwards. But it doesn't get any easier.
And the money's looking pretty damn dire.
Texture seized.
Quick takeover towards it. Might be seized. There's no follow-up though, because Jorgamo's opted into the operator. The big boomstick. Now he reveals his hand. Had to shoot the Prowler, had to evacuate and exit out.
And Jonah P happy to use a lot of utility. There's only one Prowler to try to get kind of passive information.
My ult's ready.
And they've had Jorgamo push back here too. So I think in terms of the macro game, Gen.G kind of winning this round. Jorg's going to have to go for some kind of info peak. Nobody set up to punish, though.
Gen.G inserting a bit of a pause, I think, expecting that G2 were going to go for some form of reclear.
But that's actually allowed Jorgamo to get back on the line. Leaf in a tucked position.
If this ends A, wall up, wall down. There's a timing here that Gen.G looking to utilize, and there's a Prowler connection. Still Leaf gets one. This traded, showstopper not expected, but there it is. Collapses onto the floor, Jorgamo from the high ground. It's the operator looking to get value, looking to get a few more. Running it down to the side, the extremities getting cleared up, but Jorgamo counted for. Taken out as a 2v2. G2 versus Gen.G Valen. Trying to clear, trying to be diligent. Paranoia sweeps, no connection onto Caron. He's still going to see this one open. Sighted. Ash is seeing it, takes the connection. Knows that he's off of it for now. But the C's did not connect. Smoke's going to be blossoming, blooming, covering the intent of G2. And they cannot be denied.
They're looking incredible in these kind of scrappy moments. Gen.G need a huge player advantage to be able to close rounds out, because otherwise, G2 are everywhere. Even in this spot, Leaf should never be getting one. But they find themselves in a 4v3, even clean up Jorg. But coming back through, Trent applies so much pressure onto that defuse. And you got to give credit to Valen. He's having an incredible game. He's 12-1.
Locked in.
You don't expect him to be out here smoke diffing Caron.
G2 under that pressure to perform a perfect lower bracket run. Seems to be creating diamonds. And the money, bottom of the barrel purchases for Gen.G once more. Slow as you go. Just trying to dodge and weave past these bullets. Working the map a little bit for Gen.G. They're hoping for a pickoff or two, and rubble fight, hold up. Munchkin spotted out. Round to the side here, stun, maybe avoided. Jorgen was watching the one angle, Salvo onto the other. Got to de-root this guy, but Munchkin could potentially get some kills for his trouble. Spotting for the info, and everybody just calls it quits.
That's going to make Munchkin panic a little bit though, isn't it? This is one of the only rounds where we've seen Gen.G put that default over towards C, let Munchkin lurk, and a slower pace round. But it is on the eco. So how much can one guy really get done? He's calling the rest of the team back over to him. Yes. Trent's fully out of utility. No opportunity for those salvos to regenerate.
35 seconds left. Slowly going for this one again. Don't really have the weapons to be taking this fight.
30 seconds
All contact plays for now, but looking to explode potentially into blue room. And there it is, it's a Visalt.
They're tucking in close with classics and
Here
shorties.
it is, it's the pistols that have to do the work here. Jorgamo, he's running hot on your heels. Shorty in hand from that kind of range. He's done the damage, but not quite the kill. Jonah P looking to redeem, and he has indeed shut down the kill. What a shot to find, leaves it down to Ash, and he's on double digits. There's no chance in hell he can make it out of that spot. 7-2 in his scoreline now for G2.
Rough moment there from Munchkin towards the end. Kind of panicked, jumped up. Maybe a bit of a mouse problem. G2 are storming away with the lead. Again, look back towards the historic matchup that these two teams have played previously. Lower bracket final, Masters Shanghai. Tournament that Gen.G ended up coming away with the victory, and
One enemy is left.
they came out to a blistering lead in that match on Lotus. Now G2 fully in control.
Where are we?
And Gen.G generally have been in control of their games. They normally go up early in the first half. And then it's about whether they can close out. Here they're struggling to stay even close.
Just a float. Op shot rattling past just to put a bit of fear into Gen.G. They've been conceded, rubble control. There wasn't really much of a fight put up by G2.
I do like the slower pace though from Gen.G. I think it's more likely to find success.
Footsteps already crossed past, but unanticipated that Jorgamo would be there to Nightfall now. Scatters across, sound cues are cut away. Moving forwards and back, there was that game crash, but here we go. Roll out the red carpet, roll out the salvos. There's nowhere to stand. Very few pockets indeed for Gen.G to be safe, but with a minute on the mark, they can bide their time. Play this one together.
And a player advantage retake for G2. They still have Paranoia, a flash from Jorgamo, a stun from Trent. There's still plenty of utility here to make this work. And of course the player advantage.
Flash overhead.
Stealing
Out of Paranoia. Go button's going to be called for here by G2. They want to try and make it go of it. It's good for the positioning still. Ash is doing tremendous damage and tremendous work. Jorgamo, let's try and clear up that upper area, but the site is kind of flipped over. Gen.G, holy! Jorgamo just locking on. One to stand. Caron! 3 bullets left, and the swarm just in time.
G2 again. Just boxed Gen.G into the site and hit them with so much util. The operator from Jorg is also just getting astounding value. He's, despite getting pushed off his early lines, he's always finding a pick as they enter the site. And then also, still somehow being able to find value. Nice! From the up and the shorty on the retake. Gen.G at some point in this tournament, after they've beaten Fnatic, I think,
Time to
were
work.
most people's favorites to be the top team here.
There.
They need to wake up here in this game.
Looking out of it. Completely out of it with no real chance here. This is unbelievable.
Oh, Jorg is looking great with the op.
This kind of form. He's just unleashed here in the LAN environment on the big stage.
And he's dominating Texture. Texture's 2 and 10. This is one of the favorites for MVP here, if you were just looking at individual performances. I think it was Paperthin who said, there's no doubt who the best player in this tournament is. Well, he's just getting shut down, shut out.
Walking around the map here, Gen.G are looking for anything. Bit of presence by Foxy9, maybe feeling But the impetus is on him. Someone needs to step up and maybe get the ball rolling to get any sort of round they can as a timing. It's caught. Foxy9 can't get more for his troubles, but maybe one is enough. Still, Munchkin also going walkabouts. Paranoia connects. All up, it's going to be saved by it. Nightfall committed. G2 are just looking for info.
Yeah, that's just for information. Now, they've only caught 2, but the sound cues
around.
A little bit
Spike
oblivious and the
down
spike
A.
dropped in no man's land. This is all going to be on Karen.
Caron even being spotted out. Beautiful correction. Leaf was just out into the open there, but watching onto every other avenue, G2 are not letting anything else slip.
He has the ult for the spike. It is possible here.
Pick up the spike here. It's going to be a risky plan, though. They're already on
10
him.
seconds left.
Straight onto the site. Going to start to play this one all together now. Wide swing, wide face. Valen is feeling himself.
Why wouldn't he be? The team leader, the IGL for G2. He's not required usually to put up unbelievable numbers, but he's 15-2 right now. That's a shot and a half, though, from George. Rifles back in the hand of Gen.G, though, as they try to close this one out with a 9-3. It's the best they can possibly hope for. Double operators, because the wealth is that large.
Last round of this first half, too, for Gen.G to put up anything. At least they've got the rifles.
G2 are just so active. They're already putting pressure on the B-Lurk player, finding out that Munchkin is over here.
They're all over the place. Making good usage of the fade. Hello, okay. One of the first kills going away for Gen.G now. Valen gone. We'll see how the rest of G2 end up playing this one. That's a tag through the wall.
That's crazy.
Jorg is not missing. He's everywhere at once. The TP took him out into the open, almost died for it. But did he anticipate Trent? Tucked close and tight. Needs a few more, bit of spam. Raw bullets coming his way. There's a lot of teams coming for him, yet still he perseveres and reigns supreme. Munchkin scrambling left and right. Dimensional drift spotted, he can see it on the HUD, and Leaf just plucks him out of the picture. It's a 10-2 half.
Absolute domination here for G2. Gen.G never had a hope in this half. There were early signs that maybe they could have done something with those rubble fights, but as soon as G2 got going, they were firmly in control. It would take something miraculous for Gen.G to come back in the second half.
For an elimination game between two titans right now, Gen.G are not standing up to the test that G2 are putting out. This is a squad that we wanted to see a resurgence from. You can see it reflected in the numbers, the Coinbase econ report. It's all G2. There has been so far this entire first half. For Gen.G, though, Josh, listen, on the back of that Wolves game, we needed to see a resurgence. They lost that one. They crumbled under the pressure of the second half of each map. They really threw away their advantages. Here, they don't have an advantage to work with.
Absolutely. I mean, they could just be bombing out right here. This is elimination, and you can't go quietly. Texture in particular, I mean, you're seeing it here reflected somewhat, but once he gets onto the defense half, you need to be getting an operator into this guy's hands, I think. You saw what Jorg was able to do with it, and Texture's been immaculate with the operator and so good on defense. If there's any chance here for Gen.G, you need this guy to activate, but you also need the economy to even put the op in his hands in the first place.
And so Gen.G need to get back into the business of winning these pistol rounds. And one of our best teams at this event, over 73% win rate with pistol rounds. That's how you get the economy booming.
Yeah, and then also they're going to have to fend off a G2 force fight with Stingers.
Exactly.
Even if they do win the pistol. So pistol rounds, weirdly enough, in this particular matchup, don't matter as much as they usually do because both teams are so good at winning even after they lose the pistol. Having said that though, it's a 10-2 half. So Gen.G need anything they can get. Paranoia used instantly with a haunt to fake like Gen.G are fighting super hard over rubble.
Doubled up, it's a bit whiffy, it's tenuous at best. Like taking bullets rattled off. Ash weakened all the way down here. Bit of a drive-by, opening up the door, applying that pressure now towards C-Mount, and the TP back. It's fakes on fakes.
And it looks like Valiant's got the read that this rubble pressure was a fake all along. It's only Karen.
Jump spot.
He's already used the Paranoia as well. Yeah.
Smoke's barely available to him. He's just got to try and scurry towards the back, but again, Salvador at your feet. Thorn's in front. Needs to step up and try and take this. Fight straight to them. Blind as anything, still manages to grab one. But look at G2 already just getting into all the cracks in the defense. Any sort of gap whatsoever. But listen, that's a double fight that Jogamo was taking, and he didn't have a teammate to help him.
So a chance here for Gen.G. 2 players controlling spawn and 2 players on the flank. Leaf could easily get caught out.
Player advantage for Gen.G. As you mentioned, Leaf could definitely get caught out, but he's positioned himself well indeed. It's the first one, still fights happening on multiple avenues, multiple fronts. G2 filling up the feed and getting the better of it for now, but it's still that 2v2 and the damage done! There's no way! They're so damn low! There's still a chance for Texture. It's not planted for these G2 players. They're going to have to get a bit of a run on. First one's a good connection, brings it into the 1v1! Texture delivers!
He had to turn up, he had to deliver, and he needs the kills, he needs the economy to get this up online. Red Bull clutch in the end. There was barely any health on the board. It was, to some degree, ridiculous that Texture was even left in a 1v2. Munchkin, I think, should have been able to deal with it. He did hit a headshot onto Leaf, actually, but he was just a bit too focused on hunting down that kill. But nice composure from Texture in the clutch. And G2 are not going to go for a force here. So this is one of the few scenarios where G2 actually get the plant, get a lot of kills, and decide not to opt in. And I think this is actually the right idea, because if they force and lose, Gen.G are starting to build up some momentum. If you ignore the force, you're doing all right.
Yeah. Trying to play the long con with the money, and okay, pistols in hand, actually still getting some value from it, even dinking Ash, bringing him straight down, Jogamo over there with a follow-up.
They haven't even forced and they're in a 3v3.
This is dire for Gen.G. Scattered with the players, Leaf is just going walkabout, seeing if he can bait out a bit of this one, and he's not even just baiting them all, he's full committing.
Yeah, he's just sent that, hasn't he? Taking the risk on the eco round.
Munchkin, though, is he going to be able to hear this one? Potentially. Might just be in the Venn diagram where he can get some information and call out for his team, but the rotations are coming late now from Gen.G, so I think he might have just missed it.
A plant, but not a great one. Having said that, you're not going to be playing long-range off-site post-plants anyway. Jorg takes a full flash to the face.
I think Jorg might have just missed that timing. Onto Munchkin on the flank. Munchkin's still working with the Judge, not the best weapon, but...
A terrible weapon, in fact, for this flank.
He's hoping the rest of his team, I think, can try and push him into him potentially here. Orbs are going to be propped up here, and his timing's okay. Foxy9, and a watchful eye onto that one then. Good connection with the flash. A bit of damage with the chip. Trent got to try and do it now with a classic. And the weaponry finally gets the advantage that Gen.G were looking for.
And not too bad overall, actually. Munchkin and Foxy can still keep their full armor. And so, while it looked like a very dangerous situation in the 3v3, Gen.G have managed to come through relatively unscathed. Now, they didn't go for anybody saving money here. They put a lot of respect on G2. They knew that the force was possible, so that means nobody's gone for a pistol round in round 14 to save up for an operator, something like that. So they're still working with mediocre weaponry coming into this bonus. But if they can convert here, maybe there's a chance to apply the pressure back to G2. And they're putting a lot of their eggs into this Rebel fight.
Yeah, bit of a preview of what's to come here. There's not much pushback, it's only Leaf. He's not going to be opted into all that. Combination of the util. He's going to set Karen up nice and pretty. He's got deep A main control now. It's going to make the guessing game off the map that much easier here for Gen.G.
Worth paying attention as well while we're on this attack after how Trent's going to be using his salvos. Is he going to be looking to use them for site execs, map control, post-plant?
Viper Orb ended up landed on the tusk of something. Karen feeling the pressure now with that util coming forward. Snake bite and a Prowler. Sends out that paranoia. Just a clone and Texture's watching.
You need this guy to activate.
I think they may have seen a lot of players' presence though, so now they're going to be making a move over towards C. Foxy9 gets info. Horns are going to be deaded. He's trying to slow this one down, buy some time for the rest of his team.
No wall though.
Horns in through. Foxy9 just playing this one for the full retake.
Watch Texture's off. Watch Texture's ult here. They're going to try to push into him. A lot of pressure.
Salvos, this is actually disconnected. Ah, she still gets 2. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. He was pushed into a really difficult spot, yet still Trent is getting that value. Round towards the pillar. Texture has to be the difference maker and is. Gains some side control, leaves it into just Jonah P. And he's not much for them. Gen.G walk all over the site.
Story here though, at the beginning of this second half, is that Texture is now online.
Yes.
He's been getting multi-kills. He's been really impactful. Winning them the clutch, getting 3 in this round. Impact kills as well. He's rocketed back up towards the top of the scoreboard for his squad. G2 forced into a stinger buy. Not that they're bad with these at all, but they're starting to get ults online too.
You're feeling it now. I think a bit of confidence back for Gen.G. You convert the bonus like that, spirits are going to be high. You know at this point, it's more than winnable. You just have to drag it over the line 1 round at a time.
The ult rounds are going to be the trickiest, and it actually could be right here. Nightfall gained. Jorg, if he gets a kill, has the Yoru ult.
Full util dump. Foxy9 squares up. Being challenged, that's the util. The TP forward, the wall's going to be deaded on top of it. There's 2 players on the way in, but they're looking left, right, all over the place still. Up and over towards the wall. Leaf was able to pluck Foxy9 out. Ash is in. Trying to flood defend this one side by side with him and Texture. There's a disconnect here. G2 have called for a bit of a pause. Util's flying back and forth. Cutting them up now with the smokes, including the site. It's divided. Both teams looking for a pick.
Doesn't really look like there's a safe opportunity to plant here.
Drone out wide looking for info. G2 with their backs against the wall. Gen.G have got them cornered.
Karen's actually staying all the way over towards Rubble in case G2 extract themselves, but Valen and Trent are really committed.
Hard stuck. Gen.G cemented themselves, rooted. High-low setup.
How do you work a play here?
I don't even
if
know.
you're G2.
They're waiting for the smoke time is for 1. Propped up, now trying to take the fight. Ash! It's monstrous. Huge performance, timing taken, and the Prowler just misses it for Texture. On the high ground, watches for it, Gen.G. This is what we were expecting from them, a bit of a bounce back.
G2, though, chose not to invest any of their ultimates. They did have a couple that they had one, the Nightfall, that they could have gone for in that round. But this is what they're saving. This is why they didn't force in round 14. This is why they haven't invested any ultimates yet. It's because when you have such a big lead, when it's a 10-2 half, you know that you should be able to close out with ult rounds. And this is one that we're about to watch here. Jorg with the dimensional drift. Jonah P can turn off everybody's audio, allow Jorg to make a play. How are they comboing these, if indeed they are?
I'll handle this.
Sending it now, though. Dimensional drift forwards. Salvo's in, breaking blue room, gives him access towards it. It's going to go for the B-split. Cheeky idea, Nightfall now, cutting away the sound user. Yeah, no! Anticipation. As you mentioned, they cooked it up, they combined it up. The ults getting tremendous value.
And the Tejo getting tremendous value to knock through that door and allow a safe path for Jorg.
Very cool opening idea by G2. They need another layer to this one. Gotta watch for it. On top of the box, that's an angle that is hard to get onto. Texture is punished for it. Trying to peek past it. 2 plays up towards heaven. Gen.G to make a go for it. It's a 3-2-1 in the swing, but right through the smokes. It's a hard fight to win. 11 rounds now. Finally, G2 get a round on the board on this half.
That's a tough one for Gen.G to deal with. It's just straight out of the strat book. Beautiful idea from G2. Gets them 1 step closer to the finish line. As long as you can convert those kind of rounds, you're not too worried about Gen.G winning the more neutral ones. It's a beautiful idea. And it also got Trent's ult online if they needed it. Didn't have to use it though, so maybe there's another idea here that Josh RT can cook up for them.
The round's already begun. Seeing emphasis placed over towards C. Now, Texture, finally.
Down, C.
Business booming operator in his hands, and now he can't really let loose.
And this is where the danger might start to mount for G2, because when Texture has an op, he can be a nightmare to deal with. If they were thinking about setting up some kind of play with the Taeho ult as well, that's no longer available. Entire game plan might have to shift here for Valorant.
Creeping and crawling though up through B main.
This is a spot that Leaf himself loves to play in.
Yeah, with the wall. Munch can get a quick punish off. They try and jump spot this one. They're going to hear it walking, and Munchkin! It's beautiful work.
Down, B.
Astounding stuff from the IGL.
1 enemy remaining.
And G2 are just dropping like flies.
Fantastically clean round there from Gen.G. Once the economy started booming, as you said, they got the op, they got the Odin, players into standard defensive positions, and Texture and Munchkin looking lights out. G2 forced onto another eco round. And they're going to take a tactical timeout here. I think a lot of this is going to come down to, do they have another good ult round in the bank?
Yeah.
Can they try to concoct something with the Armageddon, with the Viper's Pit? And Gen.G, this is another opportunity for their coaches to try to add input and preempt those kind of game plans.
Gen.G
Very
good
defense-sided map, though, so far.
It is. Yeah, game of 2 halves, really. Gen.G coaches are very good at preempting certain ideas, trying to predict, feed information. Munchkin has definitely highlighted that in press interviews, talking about how good the coaches are, I think, at actually setting him up to be a really fantastic IGL. Always anticipating your enemy's moves. And they are dragging this forwards 1 round at a time. Dragging maybe the wrong word forward at this point, because Gen.G are in full control of this half. With G2, they do only have to get 2, yes, but sometimes those last few rounds can be the hardest to get.
And you might think that G2's composition should be great in the post plant, but it's difficult to get to that spot. You know, Trent usually is not going to be able to save his salvos to just play some kind of cringe post plant setup. G2, they like to play for retake a lot, but Gen.G are only playing about half the time to let their opponents plant. So most of the time they're playing up front, denying you at the choke points, and Trent's going to get his util forced out early.
Rounds up and over. Flash into his face, still pre-aims out Haunt. It's a good play by Kara. Bleeding out a ton of util from these G2 players. Does he have a backup policy?
I mean, he could
escape.
escape.
It's Foxy 9! That's the bloody policy! Looking for even more up and over. Still they're cleaned up. And this, against the G2 with not too many guns, upgrades are going to be acquired off of that.
Yeah, Karen didn't want to teleport away because he would have abandoned Foxy 9, and in the end they go 2 for 2. Munchkin gets in to reinforce, but he takes a fight.
He's gone.
Cover going out.
And this is the opening, this is the window, this is the kind of mistake you cannot make.
Dire straights here for Gen.G. Pit now swarming out wide. It's a poison that's going to be spreading. Ash trying to go for a bit of random spam, seeing if he can collect these kills, but there we go. Sees and a nade, and Valen is no more. Still the pit remains. Defensive wall is propped up here, and these G2 players are going to try and make the most of it. Ring around the rosies. Operator in your hand. Shooting on top of it. And Ash left reeling, left wondering. His hands played it well, trying to pick up some sort of rifle. Leaf in front of him, and it's a game of those timings. Leaf dominates it.
That's incredible precision there from Leaf at the end. Needed to hit that one, because Ash had the read exactly on where he was. That is mad that Texture goes in and swaps away from the shorty to the off. I can't believe he went for that. But overall, a fumble coming out of the tack timeout that Gen.G cannot afford. Gets G2 up to map point.
Let's go, Damien.
And that's it, one more round is all it takes, and this is it. A brawl called for. Sees connects Dojo. Gamo attacks out with the operator, and that is not expected. That's an ult gone now. Texture no longer to be the playmaker in this pivotal round for Gen.G. Map point for G2.
The tension in the air. Foxy9 and Munchkin both holding aggressive angles, looking to maybe be the playmaker.
Trying to make something happen for the rest of the team. More for the exit, salvos towards the back. Foxy9!
Crazy.
Just trying to play and overstay.
Completely flushed out by one salvo there.
This is methodical. It's G2 dissecting the map up now. Armageddon rolls it out, TP into the back from Valorant as well, full access. Munchkin, he's already roared away forward, trying to take that timing, trying to take it well, god damn, man! If they needed him, he showed up and put up here, and it's a pivot for B. G2 call for the pause, but 30 seconds remaining, and heads are being popped straight through the wall. Damage being done. It's G2 tepid, trying to bait his fights out. The triple face in the end, and one player left to do it all. Charon, TP, throwing mind games into the mix, expecting potentially the pivot over towards A. But the plan is stuck now. G2 get into this one. Jonah P and Leaf to lock up this map. And one kill is all it takes. Lotus goes G2's way.